If you're a brand or business considering doing a Secret Santa event this year and you want to host this and make sure you're legally protected, we're going to talk to everybody's favorite IP and entertainment lawyer, Tony, to find out what you need to know and the mistakes that most people are making so that you don't make them too.
My name is Tony Iliakostas. I'm an adjunct professor of entertainment law and IP at New York Law School, and I have an Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok account called The IP Professor that's dedicated to all things intellectual property.
Tony, every year we have businesses and brands who think it would be a fun idea to do a Secret Santa, and they allow people to write in with their name and their address, and they are then assigned a person to give a gift to, and they are going to get a gift from somebody else. As the organizers of these Secret Santas, is there anything we need to know on the legal side of things to make sure we are protected, especially when it comes to people we don't know being involved, sending out gifts, maybe not sending out gifts? What's the legal side of this?
Yeah, it's kind of showcases how even something fun like Secret Santa could warrant the need for a lawyer. Sorry, on behalf of the legal community. But either way, this is kind of like your traditional. I would almost like liken the virtual Secret Santa to almost like having a sweepstakes or a contest where you're probably going to have to lay out certain rules and regulations and even terms and conditions related to active participation. And this is probably the kind of thing where if you're a brand or you're this organizer of this event, you would want to work with someone particular who works in the small business side of things, or even who has experience with kind of like sweepstakes or contests to help craft what could be operate as a very good terms and conditions related to something like this. The reason why you want to do something like that is because by you're kind of creating the whole need of having paperwork for every single person that participates.
Mm-hmm.
You have a unilateral method of allowing people to just consent to those terms automatically the moment that they put their name in a virtual Secret Santa list. And by them creating that membership, if you will, that's where they would essentially consent to the terms. And some of those terms that they would probably consent to is, let's say, the dollar amount of the gift, that it shouldn't exceed. I mean, if it exceeds a little bit, I'm sure it's fine, but that it should be within a specific price range, in essence, to create equity. Could also create a certain scenario. What happens if a person that is part of a Secret Santa doesn't honor their end of the bargain? What remedy is sought in a situation like that? I think it would be a bit extreme for there to be, let's say, an arbitration, but what could it look like in the future? Is there like a cure period for the person who, let's say, missed the deadline for Secret Santa to come about and provide the gift anyway, maybe at a later date? All of those would be spelled out in some type of legal form in those terms and conditions. And obviously, it's up to the end user that ends up creating an account and being a part of this virtual Secret Santa event to live up to their end of the bargain, as is the case with all the other members. I think conditional to that, some other things that would be essential to kind of like the creation of this. Obviously, you want to make sure that your website is ADA compliant. There are too many lawsuits out there where people have not made their websites ADA compliant, and people have gone after them for violating Americans with Disabilities Act. So making sure that your website is ADA compliant, that is a legal requirement by a lot of business owners that have some type of commerce element to their website. And then obviously you want to make sure that you're abiding by certain privacy policy provisions, especially with California, where they have very restrictive rules on privacy and data, and especially when you're soliciting people's names and their email addresses and other contact info, you want to make sure that you have all of that spelled out. So a small business attorney can help you with setting up all the different parameters of how to set up your virtual Secret Santa list, organize it. Maybe they could even help create some of the other little ancillary legal issues that may come into play. Like, let's say, someone received their Secret Santa gift and they take a picture of it. How do you embed, let's say, some type of rights and clearances language in the terms and conditions that would allow you, the organizer, to use that person's photo in marketing related to your virtual Secret Santa so that you can promote it if you're going to do it the next year, or maybe if you want to promote it during the holiday season. So obviously that's where all those little legal minutiae will come into play, but that's the core of what would come into making an event of this sort.
And of course, a lot of these people who are creating these Secret Santas do use forms like a Google form. So if we are creating all of this legal information, putting it on our website. We do need to link it to that. They need to be able to go to it, read through it, and agree to those terms. And of course, there are programs out there that allow you to do this as well. Do you think it would be better for people to be using programs specifically designed for collecting this information and mitigating it out to different people? Or do you feel like doing something on your own is going to be more beneficial?
I don't think there's really a difference between the two, and I don't think one is better than the other necessarily. I actually think it's more of like what's more convenient for you. Would you rather build the program from scratch, or would you rather just do a plug and play format, which is what Google Forms tends to present itself as? At the end of the day, it's a matter of what's going to be the best way of aggregating all that data. And then also when people, let's say, use a Google form, like you mentioned, KM, if you're using a Google form, linking to the terms and conditions so that people know that part of filling out the form and hitting accept or submit includes their acceptance of the terms and conditions, having that hyperlink to a separate page with all those terms and conditions and the rules related to this virtual Secret Santa, that's I think the most important aspect of all, so that they have had them being the user has had some type of proper disclosure of what are they signing up for, what are the terms of this specific Secret Santa, what do they have to do, what can they not do, and at that point it's up to them and everybody else that's participating to live up to it, to honor those terms and have a fun time during the holiday season.
Let's say they are going to use something like a Google form and they are linking out to those terms of service. What's a good way to indicate that they have officially read it? Would a checkbox work? Do they need to type in the words, I read it? What's the best situation here?
So we've seen it in so many forms. You kind of talked about it very emphatically because that's where we see it most times, where you say, by checking this box, I accept to the terms and conditions herein. Obviously, little legalese there, but you can make it a little bit more layman's term if you want. But you could have it as a checkbox. You could even have a disclaimer at the bottom that says, by hitting submit or agree or as I guess continue, whatever it is, by hitting continue or submit, I hereby consent to the terms set forth in the terms and conditions hyperlinked, related to this virtual Secret Santa 2023. So having some type of affirmation, whether that's again in a unilateral fashion or by a person check marking a box, that's going to be the money shot right there. That's very, very important. You can't not have that, because otherwise a failure to disclose, obviously that's I don't want to go there, but it's kind of like fraudulent behavior. And obviously the last thing you want to do is defraud people that are being part of a pretty widespread event, and you don't want them to feel like they've been hoodwinked or swindled into something that and that they agreed to terms secretly that they weren't aware of. The last thing you want is to not have that proper disclosure, and that is super essential in something like this.
And of course, we have had conversations on how to legally protect ourselves if we are doing giveaways and sweepstakes and things related to our business and social media giveaways. So we will have those in the legal playlist linked down below. If you've got questions on this or something related to this, now is the time to drop those. And as always, Tony is coming back for upcoming episodes. You can drop your legal entrepreneurial questions for us or reach out to him on his social media. Tony, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at the IP Professor. You can check out my entertainment law podcast called Scene. New episodes drop every Friday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Drop your questions on running events on social media down below. Tony's coming back for upcoming episodes. And as always, we're helping you to navigate the world of your entrepreneurial endeavors to make it easier for you to make more money in your business and create more luxury time in what you are doing so that you can live your best life while also running your business. We'll see you in the upcoming episodes.